Okay, one of our panelists is also here. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Udit.
Thanks, man.
Hi, our second panelist, Dr. Anubha. She's also here. Welcome, Dr. Anubha.
Thank you, Arneet.
Yeah, Dr. Anubha, we are just waiting for our students to join in, then we'll start the session. Shall I start? Okay, a very warm
Yes,
welcome
please.
to all of you, and thank you for joining our today's webinar, Retune Your Brain, Beat the Need Stress. My name is Aneet, and I'm the operations head at BGC Education. BGC Education is an organization which offers students an array of opportunities in India and abroad at an affordable cost. We have an office in Delhi, but we do have a pan-India presence. In today's session, we will be covering topics like how to deal with exam stress and anxiety, some time management tips, NEET exam strategies, do's and don'ts of NEET exam, and at last there will be Q&A session with our panelists. So please welcome our esteemed panelist, Dr. Anubha Dal-Majitia. She is a renowned clinical psychologist and an author of famous parenting books. Mr. Uday Pratap Singh, NEET expert and a career counselor. He has been counseling students, medical aspirants basically, for last 20 years. So without any further ado, let's start the session. Over to you, Dr. Anubha.
Thanks, Arneet. Let's start. So I would request all the mics to be on mute. And if you have questions, you can note them down so that we can take it at the end of the session, as Arneet just pointed out. So I'll be I'll be presenting a PPT and I'll be talking side by side. So Arneet, would you make me the presenter?
Wait a second. Shall I pin you or like a spotlight?
Do you see my presentation now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So we'll be talking about managing stress today, and in that only we are covering about, how do you go about beating exam stress, exam anxiety, and also a little bit about time management as well. So the first important thing is stress is not a bad thing. So a lot of the times when we say stress, we feel that, it's a very bad thing, it's a negative reaction, and we should avoid it. But there are two major types of stress, and it's important that which kind of stress are you experiencing. So there's eustress, which is EU stress, and there's de-stress. Eustress here means good stress. So if you didn't feel stressed about something, you didn't feel anxious, you didn't feel fearful, you would not even want to kind of motivate yourself to do something. So it serves as a motivational tool. But if you are getting stressed too much and it's kind of starting to play on your mind, you're getting too many negative thoughts, you're feeling physically exhausted, then the eustress translates into distress. So if you had, like, let's say, stress on one axis and you had performance on the other, if stress increases, performance increases to an optimal level. After that, what happens is that the moment the stress increases more, the performance starts to decrease. So it becomes a U-shaped curve. So we have to be very, very mindful that we are not moving from the territory of eustress into distress. So how can we do so? So some things are very basic, but we usually avoid that and we don't do it. And the mind and body are connected. So we are not just going to talk about the mind today. We are also going to look at what we can do for the body to be more optimized. So if you look at simple tips, first thing is hydrate. So a lot of the times you people are just drinking about 1 liter of water, which isn't enough. What's happening is when you're dehydrated or you're not having adequate water, you are more anxious, you're more irritable, and your performance goes down because the body is in a state of exhaustion. So you should aim at drinking at least 2 to 3 liters of water. If you're drinking 2 liters, go up to 4, but make sure that you're well hydrated so that you're feeling a sense of well-being and you're not feeling very stressed out. Second important thing is nutrition. So a lot of the times we hear that, either you're having very long gaps, like for instance, you're sleeping, you've had your last meal at 7 o'clock or let's say 8 o'clock at night, and then you're having breakfast straight because either you're getting up late, that you were up all night, or you've been so stressed that you're not eating well. So make sure that you don't have long gaps between your meals. Have your meals. I mean, ideally, you can have small meals at 2 hours interval. Again, because if you're having long gap between your meals right now, what is happening is your blood sugar is dipping. When your blood sugar dips, what happens? You start feeling lightheaded, anxious, irritable, and low. Again, takes away from your performance, makes you feel more stressed. If you're having caffeine, and a lot of you might also be having energy drinks to pump yourself up, a caution about that. So what it does is sugar and caffeine, they tend to give you a peak, but then the crash is very bad. So instead of that, restrict your caffeine intake to 2 teacups. If you feel you're more prone to anxiety, you should not go beyond 2 teacups, because if caffeine increases, anxiety increases. So it spikes your anxiety. Not a good thing. And also it dehydrates. So again, if it dehydrates, again, you feel anxious and tired, right? Not rocket science, but very regular stuff. Third important thing is sleep. So I'm sure a lot of people have trouble sleeping or maintaining sleep, or they are sleeping at very late intervals. What we don't realize is that the exam is going to start in the morning. So you may be sleeping very late. What you're doing is you're training your brain to become very active during the night, but sluggish during the day. So that also takes away from your exam performance. It also takes away from your sense of well-being. So try to get at least 6 hours of sleep. And the sleep that you get before midnight is always more refreshing than the one which is after midnight. So make sure that you start regulating your sleep in such a manner that you're not sleeping beyond like the 12:30 mark. I know it's difficult because a lot of you study at night, but now since your exam is nearing, it's important that you start shifting, because the body takes time. So they say 21 days to change a habit, 90 days to make it a lifestyle. So if you start now, maybe you can train your body to kind of be more active in the morning and in the day rather than probably at night. The shift needs to happen for optimal performance. Always remember that. Routine. A lot of the times you're studying through the day and you're avoiding other aspects. Not a good routine to follow. You don't feel nice at the end of the day. You feel more stressed. So we can always use a very simple 4-point routine. Make sure you have a little relaxation practice in your day. Make sure you have a little bit of exercise. Study you're doing anyways, and make sure you at least take out 5 or 10 minutes to unwind. Whatever makes you happy. I usually say go to your zen. If it's reading which makes you happy, if it's music which makes you happy, if it's, let's say, a movie which makes you happy, do anything, but do it for a limited period of time. Another good thing to do is, if you've, let's say, studied up to whatever you had planned to study, give yourself that little treat by unwinding. So unwinding also becomes like a reward you give to yourself. Okay, today I finished my targets, so I deserve to just relax and probably just watch one episode of my favorite Netflix show. So do those little things for yourself. Relaxation is very important. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to kind of be doing a very extended form of yoga pranayam. You can do simple breathing exercises. A very simple exercise that I can recommend is that you do 15 deep breaths focusing on your stomach, then go to 15 deep breaths focusing on your chest, and 15 deep breaths focusing on your nose. Very simple, right? Do this in the morning when you're waking up and at night when you're going to sleep. Why these 2 points are very critical is because usually your anxiety peaks at these 2 points. So you'll notice that when we are waking up, we are planning for the day. So we are thinking so many things. I have to do this, I have to do this, oh, I couldn't do this. And your mind is running. But if you are able to introduce a relaxation routine at that time, you're starting your day on a positive note. So sometimes people will say, do a gratitude exercise in the morning. Sometimes people will tell you, okay, just do a few deep breaths. Sometimes people will just tell you, do a positive visualization. So you can also do deep breathing with a visualization exercise. The visualization which I would recommend is visualize yourself going into the exam, relaxing, writing the paper, relaxing throughout that. And if you have a particular score in mind, imagine yourself getting that score. So when you start your day with a positive visualization and you're ending the day also at a positive visualization, what are you doing? You're also hypnotizing your mind. That the mind is believing that it has to be de-stressed during all that period, right? Now let's get to the point of a mindful exercise which we can all do to reduce our stress. So the moment you feel that you're getting worked up, you're feeling stressed out, do a very simple exercise, which is stop. So the first acronym in the letter is S, which is stop whatever you're doing. T, take a breath. O, observe what's happening. Am I feeling stressed? Okay, what am I feeling stressed about? What thoughts are going in my mind? If you want, you can write those things down for more clarity. And P means proceed. How do you proceed? You look at what is addressable and what is not addressable. Oh, will I be able to finish my paper in time? Will the paper be easy? Now, will the paper be easy or difficult? It's not addressable because it's not in your hands. So if I obsess about that, what am I doing? I'm unnecessarily wasting my time and energy and psyching myself up. So you can always write it down on a piece of paper. And if something is not addressable, just tear it up and throw it in the bin so that you can mentally also discard it. If something is addressable, okay, you know, I have to finish this topic today. How will I do it? Okay, can I break it up? Can I identify slots in my day which are productive and which are non-productive? Can I prioritize some topic over the other? So what are we doing? We are doing a simple technique called problem solving, where you write down a problem, you come up with ways in which you can resolve the problem, pick the one which is more practical and follow through with it. Very easy, right? So instead of all the time being in the realm of why is this happening to me? Why did I not study on that particular day? Why am I wasting time? Don't stay in the realm of why, because then you'll be constantly moving around in that whirlpool. You need to move from the why to the what. So the moment you move from the why to the what, automatically your stress drops. So always ask your question, what can I do about it? Can I do something about it? If I can't do anything about it, leave it. If I can do something about it, come up with ways, right? If you are not able to make a decision, take the help of another person, but evaluate. Now, giving your best shot, some things which are very, very critical also, and which also help the mind adjust to a particular idea, is a lot of the time, you know, you are putting a lot of anxious thoughts when you're preparing for an examination, be it NEET, be it any examination. If you are all the time associating stress with that exam, or associating that you will not be able to perform to the best of your ability, what are you doing? You're damning yourself from the day go. So instead, if you're not a good visualizer, take a happy picture of yourself, put it up on your desktop or put it up on your board, put up the NEET examination, put up that score. Every day, reflect on it, look at it, believe that you can get it. Again, we are not doing visual thinking also, we are following it up with action. But every day, if you're looking at it NEET as a positive experience, then your mind is also a little more relaxed. If you're looking at it as a very negative or a do or die experience, then you're already increasing your stress. Second important thing is focus on your strengths. A lot of the times, if you know a topic well, focus on that. Make sure that you know that inside out. If you're struggling with some topic, see how much is the weightage. Even when you're doing the paper, go with, I don't know which, I think probably Uday sir and Anit will be able to tell you better. But if you do have the option of, let's say, solving the questions first, which you know well, start with that. That always gives you a boost and you're able to move ahead. When you're looking at time, look at what is the time that you have to allocate per question. Don't go beyond that time. Be mindful. And how do you be mindful? You mimic the exam routine. So a lot of the times what happens is we are sleeping during the day, we are woken up during the night. What's happening? Your mind is sluggish in the morning, but your mind has to be trained to be very active in the morning. So how do we do that? Whatever is the time for the exam, every day make sure that at that particular time you're stimulating your brain. If you can do mock exam papers, that will be great. So if, let's say, your exam starts at 9 o'clock, make sure that you're up at 8 and you're ready with a timer. Sit at 9 o'clock, make sure you've gone through the questions, and after that revise and see which questions did you take more time on. Then try to again do the paper and take lesser time. So train yourself again and again by giving the paper at that particular time to enhance your performance. the brain responds well to patterns. Always remember that, whether it's circadian rhythms, whether it's, you know, the fact that you're training yourself that, okay, every day I'm getting my getting up at a particular time. By the fifth day, your brain will make you wake up at the same time. Similarly, if every day I'm practicing at a particular time, my brain is very active at that time. So it is used to the drill. So what are you doing? Training your brain. A good idea is also to use audio notes to reinforce certain concepts. Correct? So if there are some audio notes that you can create, let's say there are certain concepts where there are facts that you have to remember, record them. When you're going out for a walk, play them. So it's just like even the most ridiculous song you are able to by heart, right? The most ridiculous of lyrics also. You listen to it 2 times, 3 times when you're taking an Uber, it's stuck in your mind. So use that thing even for your concepts. Whatever are the important concepts you're struggling to learn, put them on an audio and keep on playing it again and again, again and again. The times even when you're not feeling sleepy, lie down and just keep playing it again and again, again and again, again and again. Right? So that it becomes like a memorization process. Another important bit is that use all your senses in the learning process. So a lot of the times what happens is we are just using the reading sense, we're just reading stuff and we're trying to remember it. But that's not enough, correct? So if you're able to read, write, say the thing aloud, and even explain it to yourself, what are you doing? You're using a consolidative way of learning. Never use only 1 or 2 senses in learning. Integrate the whole process. Now the biggest question of all, what if I fail? What if I don't do well? Then what happens? A lot of the times we feel dejected, we start ascribing names to ourselves, we start feeling guilty and beating ourselves up. So very simple way, a very simple tool that I can help you with is, I like to call it the pizza analogy. But if I look at my effort, did I give in my 100%? If I gave in my 100%, still I was not able to do it. What are the options in front of me? Again, what can I do about it? Can I give it again? Can I appear again? If I want to appear again, do I have certain amount of attempts? Do I want to take those attempts? If not, can I do something else, which will probably make me feel a little better? So if not, let's say NEET, then can there be a plan B, or can there be another college or another course that you're looking at? Always remember, you may really want to be a certain thing, you may try your 100%, but if you are constantly met with failure, it doesn't mean that you are a failure. It is only that probably this path is not for you. So again, stop ascribing your self-esteem and your sense of stress and happiness just with one slice. It is just one slice, it is not the whole pizza. So if you're able to look at the situation in that way, you will never get stressed. So even let's say somebody's sick with COVID, okay, if they have access to medical resources, the symptoms aren't that bad, you have financial resources, you don't need to feel like, you know, you're just going to die or it's the end of the world. Right? Similarly, any area of your life malfunctions, don't take it personally and say, oh God, I am a failure, I don't deserve it. No, you are not the failure. It is only that experience in which you have failed. Doesn't mean you can't try again. Doesn't mean you can't be successful in any other thing. Right? So if you're able to look at stress and you're able to look at life and you're able to look at the exam in this way, you'll feel much, much better. Right?
Yes, Dr. Anuba, there is one student, his name is Ashish. He has one question. He wants to ask, what about stress, and this stress disturb our schedule? Basically, need schedule. That's what he wants to ask.
Okay. So
Voices.
when you're saying that the stress is disrupting your schedule, right? The first important thing is in your daily routine. Are there times when you're more alert and more active? So we all have productive time slots. We all have non-productive time slots. So if let's say, okay, stress is right now disrupting, can I do something about it? Can I distract myself? Can I go just take a walk? If I feel a little better, then I can come and study again. Also, understand your schedule should not be rigid. The more rigid the schedule, the more you have a domino effect. Us time pe nahi pad paye, us time pe stress hua, so you just feel the whole day is wasted. Don't look at it in that way. Look at your day as slots. So even let's say I I wasted time, I haven't felt good about, probably a particular part of the day. I compartmentalize it and say, okay, now this is gone. Now this much of time is remaining. Can I do something to change it? If you're having acute stress or you're having too much stress, then the best thing to do at that time is distract your mind. Again, distract not in the sense that you get on the phone or you get on social media or you get on something which will be addictive. But it's better to just probably, just take a little bit of a walk, even if it's in your house. Look, I mean, even if you play one song, that's fine. It's not too much of a distraction. Take some time, let the emotionality come down, then get back on the horse, get back to your routine. If it's disrupting you beyond, so there are 3 parameters to be watchful of. If because of the stress or because of negative thoughts, you are not able to take care of yourself personally, that is, you're not able to shower, not able to eat properly, not able to sleep at all, you are not able to study at all, and you are also not feeling like meeting anybody or seeking friends, and you need to speak to a mental health professional. So if personal, social, and occupational health is disrupted, then you need to consult somebody who professionally. If it's more like, okay, it's disrupting my schedule, I need to be a little more flexible and say, okay, if this time is gone, let me make the most of the other time. And simple strategies: distract yourself when you're feeling very upset. The other thing is write the negative thought down and see, okay, can I do something about it? What are the steps that I can do to trash it? Right? So these are simple ways in which you can make the most of your day. And even if a day is wasted, don't look at it, oh, din pura chala gaya, I wasted so much of hours. No, the other day I may be more productive. Let me make the most of it.
Any other questions, students, do you have for Dr. Anubha? Because we have only 5 minutes left. So what we can do, you can rejoin the session again, because we will be continuing the session. You can write your questions on a chat box, and we can ask these questions to Dr. Anubha. Dr. Anubha, one common question is there, for all the students: what will I do if my mind goes blank just before exam or during the exam?
So if your mind goes blank at that particular time, take a sip of water and
Okay.
close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, take 3 deep breaths and say, okay, my mind is completely blank right now. I can't think about anything. What are the things that I remember about the NEET exam? Or do I remember any particular topic? Pick any topic, start going through it in your mind, and then get back to the
During
paper.
exam journey, this thing happens to most of the students, most of the NEET students, because they are so much under pressure of NEET pressure. So it happens to them.
So at that time, see, if you're struggling and constantly saying, oh, my mind is gone blank, oh, my mind is gone blank, what will happen is you're going to waste more time. So again, use the stop technique. Stop, take a breath, observe, okay, fine, I'm not able to recall this. Am I able to recall anything? Am I able to recall any particular topic which I can just start off? Start just ruminating on one topic, the other stuff will start coming to you. So at that particular time, it's very important not to get sucked into the cycle of psyching yourself up and saying, oh, I can't do it, I'm getting blank, I will not be able to do it. If you're going to do that, then you're just not going to be able to do the exam.
Dr. Anubha, Sneha is asking, ma'am, being stressed out all day, my head keeps on paining and too much of anxiety I face. Even after working on a topic for long time, again, things mingle up. This is a question of Sneha. So we have 3 minutes right now.
Okay, so one thing is, Sneha, when was the last time you got a blood test? So if
Sorry,
you
I didn't
didn't
get
get a
you.
blood test, when was the last time you got a blood test?
Sneha,
So one
can you reply?
important...
Can you speak to Dr. Anubha?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, you can directly speak to Dr. Anubha.
Okay.
Yeah,
She's
Sneha,
asking
when did you get your blood test?
Yes.
Ma'am, I don't remember that.
So very good. So please go and get a blood test and make sure you have CBC, which is to test your hemoglobin. The second thing is thyroid. The third thing is vitamin B12 and vitamin D3. So if there is any physiological deficiency or headaches may be occurring because of that. So that's the first thing to rule out.
Yes.
Second bit is,
Ma'am, I have been to a doctor like a few weeks back, around 2 weeks back. So he told me, yeah, actually he did my thyroid and so many tests together. So, but the results were okay. It was not showing anything. Even I told the doctor that I'm facing too much of problem, all day headache and all. But then also there was no solution which he can give
Did you
me.
get your B12 and D3 levels in that particular profile? Just check that, because a lot of the times you
B12,
will get a, huh.
he was saying that it is I have the deficiency of B12.
So if you have deficiency of B12, there lies part of the problem. And even D3, if your D3 is less than 50 to 70, then you need to be upping that up. So if you have a deficiency of B12 and D3, they do make you feel sluggish, anxious, depressive. So make sure that that is in order first. The second thing is, make sure you get an eye test if you're getting headaches. Make sure you're well hydrated. Make sure you're also having good sleep. If any of these parameters is off, it could be contributing or exacerbating your condition. So that is the first thing that needs to be taken care of,
Okay, ma'am.
right? The other thing is, start doing your relaxation exercises. Do 15 deep breaths focusing in your abdomen, 15 deep breaths focusing on your chest, and 15 deep breaths focusing on your nose. It'll start making you feel better because your body will start to relax. Headache basically means that the muscles are tightening up, right? So in relaxation, what are we doing is we are trying to let them loose. So every day, if you're doing them twice a day, you'll start experiencing a bit of a relaxation in your body and even in your head. So that should help also.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, students, we have only 1 minute left.
With whenever you have a
Yes.
fear or a phobia, the first step is to visualize that thing. So if it's test anxiety, if it's NEET anxiety, every day do your relaxation exercise and visualize yourself giving that test every day, so that the mind gets used to that idea of that test every particular day. If you have pictures of people giving exams, look at those so that your mind can get more sensitized to it, right? The second important thing is, as I told you, mimic the exam routine every day. That is the
You mean-
best strategy.
Okay. So you mean to say mock test? Like
Yeah,
NEET
so
mock
every
test. Yeah,
day,
yeah. You
yeah,
mean-
so let them every day sit at that particular time when the test is being given. Time yourself, and when the time is over, stop. Don't keep on doing the test. So every day when you're doing the test at the same time, over and over again, the brain is trained to get used to the fact that you're giving a test every day. So when you are actually giving the NEET exam, what happens is there is something called muscle memory and cellular memory. So that kicks in. That, automatically you are trained your mind and you've trained your body to write the test. So even if you're having, let's say, blocks or whatever it is, it'll still sail you through. But if you're not doing it, if you're sleeping late like a lot of students do, in the morning their brain is sluggish, they are not able to do that. So blanking out also happens because of that. Not completing your test paper happens because of that. Getting overwhelmed with anxiety happens because of that. So these two are cardinal. Every day to visualize yourself giving the test, and the second bit is to give the test every day at that particular time, so that you're training your brain to not feel anxious or phobic of it.
Okay. And what if the students don't get the expected marks, which they were expecting? In that case, what should they do?
So if they haven't got the marks as they were expecting, one important thing is, again, look at it instead of why did I get this, look at what went wrong. So if you review, see, was I not rested enough that day? Did I skip my meal that day before going to the exam? Could there have been certain topics that I didn't prepare well? What was the reason that actually led me to not score well? If I feel no, I did everything right, still I have scored abysmally, then you probably need to go to a consultant and see, okay, where was it that probably, I was not able to kind of do well, or which topics did I kind of not do, which may have been having more weightage. Now, having said that, you've done your analysis of what went wrong. Now look at it, what can I do about it? Do I have other options right now? If I don't have any other options, can I sit for another year? Can I study and give it again? How many attempts do I have? So those kind of things you should be focusing on more rather than, constantly beating yourself up. Because whatever's happened has happened. You can't undo it. You can't go back in the past. But
That's true.
understanding what were the factors which led to it give you better insight to prepare well the next time.
Mhm. There's one more question from Sneha, that after studying a topic once at a night, when I sleep, those topics are again roaming in my mind. So that's what she wants to ask.
So very, very natural, na? So a lot of the times when you're sleeping, also in your dreams, also you are, if let's say you watched a Netflix series, in the dream, the hero is coming in your dreams.
Yeah.
Why does that happen is because we call that residue. So whatever are the days remnants, especially the ones which you are doing before you're sleeping, those things tend to come on and on in your mind. So a good idea is to follow sleep hygiene, very simple certain techniques to improve your sleep and sleep better and not have these topics in your mind. First important thing is have set sleep and wake up times. Second thing is when you're going off to sleep, make sure at least half an hour before you start unwinding. Unwinding means no social media, no study topic, something probably just to relax yourself. You can put on sleep sounds, you can put on, you can do your relaxation exercises, read something which is not related to NEET, something which is uneventful. So read something which is not stimulating. So de-stimulate your brain at least half an hour before sleeping. Third important thing is use the bed only to sleep. A lot of you don't do that. And sometimes I'm also guilty as charged. So that why it's very important to use the bed only to sleep is because we have a natural association of restfulness with the bed. If you're doing all the other things like you're eating, you're scrolling, you're, let's say watching something, then what's happening is the bed is also associated with activity and restfulness. So your mind will not be very rested when it's going off to sleep. So these are very important techniques which you should just keep in mind so that you are having a restful night's sleep and not having topics or any other anxiety roam around in your mind.
Okay.
So give a gap.
Okay. So any other questions students want to ask from Dr. Anupa? Shall we start with the second session with Uday sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Anupa. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so much, Arneet. Thank you so much, Arneet. If there are any follow-up questions, then maybe you can relate to me and I could
Definitely.
kind